So much of the news this year has been hopeless, depressing, and above all, confusing. To which the only response is, oh dear. But what this film is going to suggest is that that defeatist response has become a central part of a new system of political control. And to understand how this is happening, you have to look to Russia, and to a man called Vladislav Surkov, who is a hero of our time. Surkov is one of President Putin's advisors and has helped him maintain his power for 15 years. But he has done it in a very new way.
Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin.
He came originally from the avant-garde art world, and those who have studied his career say that what Surkov has done is import ideas from conceptual art into the very heart of politics. His aim is to undermine people's perception of the world, so they never know what is really happening. Surkov turned Russian politics into a bewildering, constantly changing piece of theatre. He sponsored all kinds of groups, from neo-Nazi skinheads to liberal human rights groups. He even backed parties that were opposed to President Putin. But the key thing was that Surkov then let it be known that this was what he was doing, which meant that no one was sure what was real or fake. As one journalist put it, it's a strategy of power that keeps any opposition constantly confused, a ceaseless shape-shifting that is unstoppable because it's indefinable.
Paul.
My name's Andy.
And this is the Unpenned Show for Tuesday, the 6th of January, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks we've had off. No. 3 weeks.
I've been spending time with family.
Opened the show this evening with Charlie Brooker's Wipe, a little bit of a clip out of Charlie. Have we been saying that for like forever?
Yes.
Have the people that we've been listening to been saying something similar forever?
Mm-hmm.
That they have to tell us.
They do.
They have to tell us because of the land of confusion it creates.
And they call him hero of our time.
Yes, I heard that.
A hero of our time.
Yeah, Auntie is finally telling us how it's all done, aren't they?
Zherkov. I just made a little note there. I'm sure the name Zherkov is mentioned in Flash Gordon.
Probably.
He's one of,
do you think he invented this method of control? Me neither. But let's blame them Ruskies anyway, shall we?
Ming the Merciless, one or the other. It's all fake anyway, isn't it? It's all rubbish.
Over the past sort of year to 18 months, I mean, without even realising that we've been doing it, we've actually been moving these shows towards just getting people to actually understand what's been done to them.
Yeah. And
trying to make peace with that.
Yes.
Because you can't fight it in the traditional sense.
No.
Because the war of the worlds, on its smallest, is in your head.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the war that you have to satisfy and conclude first.
Yeah.
Have you done it?
I'm still working on it.
Has anybody done it?
I don't think so. Not really.
But at least we know.
At least we know that. They haven't really.
Everything that the life we live, the home we live in, and what we're trying to defend is all inside this little bit here.
It is.
You know,
it's in the nut. It's in the kernel.
It is, and it's. You know, we learned early on that we hope we have what we need to discover the wizard.
Yes.
And to discover the wizard, we need a brain, a heart, and the courage to keep going when other people give up.
And the yellow brick maze. Yeah.
But it sounds silly when we say it, but it's not really, because that is what you need.
Mm-hmm.
I've had PM conversations with, I say conversations, but it's typing, they're not conversations.
No,
with
they're
people
not,
this
are
week
they?
who still think that somebody's coming to get you. Now, we've been saying forever that no one's coming to get you.
No.
It's only in your head.
Mm-hmm.
The fear-based control system is working a treat.
Mm-hmm.
How long have we been saying that the system gives you the opportunity to lift yourself out of the darkness?
It does.
It gives you the opportunity to grow away from what it is that you're frightened of, which has been taken down with everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
All these things take place in your head. They don't take place externally. But look around. Everybody is trying to actually get away externally by buying things.
Yeah.
They try and buy things to make them happy. They know damn well that it's not going to do it. Or do they? Because still they do it. Still we stop wearing perfectly good clothes. Still we part exchange perfectly good cars. And still we go on holidays just for the sunshine.
Yeah.
Just a week of sunshine. And apparently that's good enough. 1 week in the sunshine and 51 weeks of bloody misery. It's not a very good deal, is it?
And most people are in artificial light all day.
Well, the government's doing the bit by telling you sunshine's bad for you.
Well, they are.
They're doing the bit.
Get covered up.
Some people might accuse us of actually having given up fighting the fight. But we haven't given up fighting the fight. We just changed tactics, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
Shouting and bawling at the mummy and daddy system is not going to fix where we're going.
No.
What's coming isn't going to change. This is what people perhaps still resist, to the point of, I can't say those lines, otherwise it feels like I've given up. We can't change what is coming.
No.
How our numbers are so relatively small. I mean, I don't know who King of the Hill in the UK is right now. I don't know who it is that most people are listening to, reading from, and perhaps trying to get some pointers from. But I suspect it's Thomas Sheridan. I suspect in the UK, I suspect it's Thomas. I mean, Ian Crane is, I believe, away, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's back down to Australia again.
Into Australia again.
And Ike's lost his way. But Ike's lost his way a little while ago.
Yes.
I think for those that have been around this a little while now, I mean, you and I are clocking what this year, 7, 8 years old.
Yeah.
The people who are 1, 2, 3 years old who are doing this, they're still going to find Ike. They're still going to find.
Oh, they've got to.
Yeah, but they're still going to find Alex as well. Alex
seems
Jones.
to be the process.
I mean, Alex Jones is the one guy that has made a business out of this. But eventually, you do get to see it for what it is. It's a news service. It's a news service with a very good presenter, and for the first year or 2 or 3, he can draw you in. But it's just a news service.
It is, yeah.
And that little clip that we played at the front there, the BBC are starting to do the same thing.
They are, yes.
Now, some people will say that's because we're forcing them to. We're forcing their hand for them to keep for them to have the viewing numbers, for them to have any credibility. They've got to give the people what they want.
Nothing to do with Tavistock Institute. Have we forgotten about them?
Before we started this evening, you and I said every week or every time we get to sort of chat, it becomes more and more obvious to me, and you confirm it as well, that while we think we're catching up, if you and I claim to be 7 or 8 years old in this new reality, as the reality that we think exists, how old are the controllers?
Yeah, how old are Mummy and Daddy?
That they really are. They're a long way ahead.
They are a long way ahead.
We could spend the rest of our lives, and probably will spend, a good part of our lives, trying to move along and understand more of what's going on. But we'll never get to what they have.
No, well, even in the books we've read, the very few books we've read, convinced me that we're 80, 100 years, maybe 300 years behind.
In some ways of understanding how we've been programmed, we're definitely 300 years behind. And in other ways of understanding how we're controlled, we're one lifetime behind for sure.
Yes, the technology may be advanced, but the population that are using it aren't.
No. What we're given is what is already deemed to be approved for us. It's been used against us,
it has.
and then it's turned around and sold to us, and we happily buy it. We don't actually think we can change any of the things that are coming, but we can change what we do, how we think, what we say.
Yeah,
we can change how we approach life, and instead of focusing on the negative, which the opening clip confirms that most people will not admit this because it makes them feel weak, but it doesn't make it not true. And that is that we live in fear.
Mm-hmm.
We live in a constant state of fear of what will happen if we don't do what we have to do, which is go to work, pay your bills, clothe your kids, and do it all again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Go to work, pay your bills, clothe your kids, and do it again tomorrow. The fear of what will happen if we don't do that is that we'll fall down with those that can't afford to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily we have a welfare system that takes off those that can to keep those that can't and won't and don't in business.
Mm-hmm.
And because of the way we've been programmed, we say we should help those people. We should help people who are worse off than we are.
Mm.
Even the disabled, the disadvantaged, who were given the name invalid.
Mm-hmm.
These people don't care about us.
No.
They don't give a flying
No.
about us.
Hoot. No.
And it's about time we started to face up to them. That we are of no consequence to them. We are really like little batteries.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment our energy has been sapped and we're no longer rechargeable,
Mm-hmm.
we're done.
We're spent.
We are done. They have hollowed us out and we're finished. Anybody who goes to the a death management service hospital today, over 50 years old, I'd like to hear your experience.
Mm-hmm.
You've got a personal experience with it. I don't know if you want to talk about that.
Yeah.
I know of other people's personal experiences.
Mm-hmm.
I know my mum's experience,
Yeah.
and it all was lovely people
Mm-hmm.
who basically just had tablets to keep us
Yeah.
coping with the symptoms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There was no effort to change any of those things.
No.
And looking back now, as you study the cases more closely, the problems that people are experiencing when they're older
Mm-hmm.
some can be preempted and fixed well before you get there.
Yeah.
But we're actually talking about a system now that is a death management service.
Mm.
And I don't call it that because I'm trying to be funny or satirical or aggressive in some way. It's that pretty much that's what they said
That's
they
how
were
it
going to
seems
do.
to be. Yeah.
They actually said that, we're going to use food as a weapon, along with any other. I mean, anybody who's been in the army, they used as guinea pigs for all medical experiments.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we do it on the rats and the mice and the pigs and the monkeys, but the people are last.
Yeah.
And the students who volunteer and the army people who don't.
To say, yeah, students volunteer for it, or people that need money go and do it, don't they?
But how can we ever actually have a conversation with Mr. and Mrs. Gullible and Clueless that goes along the lines of whether you think there's too many people or not, the control system now knows that technology is standing by to replace a great number of us.
Mm.
And that's the people who are still working.
Yeah.
Looking around Europe, we have tens of millions of people who have no jobs
Mm-hmm.
and no prospect of finding one.
No.
And the people who work for the control system, the weaker people, the ones that can't provide for themselves, so they go and work for mummy and daddy's firm, which is the government.
Yeah.
They go work for mummy and daddy, where they don't have to work very hard. They get better holidays than the rest of the slaves.
Mm.
They get a better pension, a better salary, and do half the amount of work at best
Yeah.
than the slaves they're supposed to be representing.
Mm.
So they work for mummy and daddy, but they don't want to give up their positions. So they're quite happy to see the slaves, who are non-productive, being removed from the equation.
Mm-hmm.
In a business perspective, this makes perfect sense. To remove the loss-making element of what is businesses, because all countries are businesses. They're run as a business. Now you can say, well, the UK has been run at a loss. It's only been run at a loss on your side of the fence.
Yes, on our side.
Okay,
yeah.
the banks are making record profits
are.
because they generate the money system, and they're only interested in the interest.
The interest, yeah.
Well, the interest is payable on the debt. So they're interested in getting the debt as high as possible because they made that up. The money that's paid as interest is actually spendable for them.
Mm-hmm.
The actual original collateral figure, the capital I've given you, they know eventually you're going to come to the point of, I can't pay this bill.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to do what all banks do.
Yeah.
What you got?
Mm-hmm.
What can we have? What can we have at cut price?
Mm.
What can we have? What can we get you guys to do for us? Because if you want to stay in this illusory power position that you're in, because I know that you have no power, because I've got you by the necessaries. Because the minute I say to your government, the tap's turned off, unless you actually play balls with me. So I can keep you in business, and as long as you can make the minimum payment, you can do whatever you like after that. But I'll make sure you can make the minimum payment. I'll make sure that you have what you need, and the back-scratching game must continue. So first of all, I'd like the maybe the shipbuilding industry would be something that I'd like to dismantle and sell to my friends, and then we'll have the coal mines and the cars and the railways. How's that for starters? Yeah, and then we'll keep going, shall we? Let's get up to date, shall we? Because debt's my only tool I have. So I want debt to be everywhere, because I am the one that created the magic that caused the debt, that makes it so I don't really want you to ever give me it back. If I do this too often, though, the public are going to figure out how I do it. So I need to hide behind a PPI type carry-on and be an investor and get you to pay 6 or 7 times for the building that you want. It's all right, though, because we'll all share it out at the end of the day. You've only got 4 years, maybe 8 years if you're lucky, but if you sign on here, I'll make sure you're well looked after. You, the wife, the nice house in the country, and the kids will go to the best schools. Just need your help with this. Don't you worry about them plebs at the bottom. We're slowly but surely eliminating that problem for you. They won't be a problem. Not at all. And when we've got the world as we want it, you'll be living in luxury, and we won't have to work half as hard. No. Because these people will provide all we need for the very basic survival. They will be our servants, and we will be their gods and masters. And they will be grateful we let them bloody live. We won't have to worry, because we'll live in gated cities, and they will not be able to come in. The world will belong to us because we've built it, we've ran it, we've owned it, and we deserve it. You want in? You work with me. That's the bloody sales patch, isn't it?
It will be.
That's what's going on, isn't it?
Yeah. And those people that are falling for that and suckering up to it, and the all right jacks, don't realise that they've been played from both ends.
They're not going to. No, they're not coming in.
Then the rug will be pulled from under their feet.
They're not coming in.
No. And I'm talking about the police service, the solicitors, the doctors, the people that are on this cash cow and think they're doing okay.
They're not going to make it.
No, it's not going to work out well for them either.
But that's no comfort for us at this time, because we have a responsibility to our children.
We do, yeah,
and our community as well. Even though they don't recognise community anymore, even we don't see it like that anymore. It's all doom and gloom, guys. It's all pessimistic. It's not. It's actually deal with what's in front of you, and then you can have the conversation. And now, what you're going to do about it? Okay. But if it's all love and light, let's just sign this petition. Let's just go to this meeting. Let's just whatever. If it's all fragmented nothingness, and just yap, okay, then I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in that at all. The reason that we struggle is because of a bad education. Always has been, always will be. Is this wonderful world of Disney, or Disney, right, actually going to help us get out of this? It helps you at the start, but at some point you have to stand up on your own 2 feet and find your own voice. Now, I've invited a few people off Facebook who appear to be well-spoken, well-read, and prepared to come and... But they won't come and talk to us.
No.
You know, it's okay being a bloody Facebook warrior. Well, if it's worthless. That's where you start, but that's not where you stay. What you guys are just doing the bloody radio show yourselves. What are you guys doing? You haven't got a lot of listeners, you haven't got this, you haven't got that. Tell you what we have got. We've got a bloody good handle on how this thing works. And we've got a bloody good handle on understanding how to keep you calm. And we've got a bloody good handle on not arguing with people. And we've got a bloody good figuring out of what has value and what hasn't. And spending time with people who can't help you is a mistake we made for too long.
For too long, yeah.
For too long.
Yeah.
The broken people at the bottom are on the edge of the cliff. They're going to grasp and clutch at anything, and they're going to say whatever they need to say to survive. And I'm not knocking those people, but they can't help you. They're only ever going to slow you down and ask you for money. What we have in what you might call the alternative news media is just a smaller version and a very more amateur version of what exists on ITV, BBC, Sky, MSNBS and places like that.
Yeah.
Or it's just a very much smaller version with cheaper kit and amateur presenters, and we really don't have the skills that they have or the opportunity to present in the way they do. So we don't let that stop us. We actually take massive stabs in the dark and end up adding to the confusion.
Yeah.
When the actual head that needs sorting out is your own. And it can't be done by listening to other people. It eventually has to be done by listening to yourself. Because inside you is a DNA genetic memory that, although I can't tell you exactly how it works, all I do know is that on my discovery, it has felt for an awful long time now that I'm remembering who I should have been.
Yeah.
I'm actually remembering who I should have been, what I should be doing, how I should be speaking, and what common sense is. If that sounds like I'm boasting and being arrogant, well, deal with it, because I'm pretty happy with the way things are going for me. And this is all hard work and solitude.
Yeah.
Reading, listening, learning.
Yeah, I've progressed from... We used to say it such a lot. My mate said, and when you were talking to other people, they'd say, "Oh, my mate said so and so," and you don't know their mate. You don't know what, and that's the system we've got at the moment.
But it's a test ground, isn't it?
Within the news system,
when we have my mate, what you're actually doing is you're testing the reaction of who it is you're speaking to, because most of the time my mate is you.
Yes. Or they don't exist.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
But it's a testing ground to see, my mate says this, now what do you think about that?
Yeah.
And when they agree, you say, well, I agree with them as well. It's a nice, easy test, isn't it?
It is,
because you get their answer, and you want to agree with their answer, so the third party allows you to agree with their answer.
Yeah.
The discovery of how many lies we tell ourselves is uncomfortable, isn't it?
It is.
It is uncomfortable because the admission to the show is what you're prepared to admit. Because what you're showing yourself is who you bloody are, really.
Yeah.
But getting back on track, and I don't want to do the news as such because the news doesn't...
It doesn't help.
It doesn't help. It actually just makes you... Well, you just pick whatever flavour you want.
It just makes you...
There's the red top flavour, the blue top
Yeah.
flavour, and then there's the alternative flavour, the BBC flavour, the Sky flavour, the elitist flavour, the poor people's flavour, the capitalist flavour, the socialist flavour. It doesn't matter. It's designed to make us fight non-stop.
It is.
Nobody puts that down, though, do they? Nobody can put it down. It's like an addiction to... It is an addiction to how bad's it going to be.
Yeah.
And we figured out... I remember... you listened to last Christmas show, didn't you?
I did.
And I listened to a little bit of it, and I thought, it's the same show. You know, are we spreading darkness thinking it's light? Are we making things worse while pretending to ourselves we're making things better?
Trying to make things better, yeah.
It's true, that's what we're doing, isn't it? That's what we were doing, isn't it?
We were doing, yeah.
We are the tip of the spear running down to tell the rest of the people what's coming next.
Yes, yeah.
And these people have to know. They have to be told.
Yeah.
And the BBC is in no part making a start on bloody telling you what's coming. They may have been propagandists in the past, but the revelation has to come at the end. Because at some point in the near future, and I'm talking about 20, 30 years at the most, we're going to learn that we are the lower class. And those above us are our lords and masters and gods. And they must be treated and revered as such. And we're lucky to bloody live. We will live and work for our supper. And don't you be bloody asking for some more. 7.4 billion people in the world, apparently. No, I haven't counted them.
No, me neither.
I can't make a judgment call here. But I do know a pack of liars, known liars, are doing the counting.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? a little suspicious. I'm a little suspicious as well. The good news is that petrol prices are going down. We're now racing for the first supermarket to get us to £1 a litre. How do you think they're going to do this? How are they going to spin this one round?
They're already declaring doom and gloom and how many companies are going to go bankrupt because of such low oil prices.
We bloody love it.
Oh, God.
We love it. That's what the news is. Wait till the Daily Mail comes out tomorrow. Just wait. We're not talking about the news. It might sound like we're talking about it, but we're laughing at the news. We're laughing at the way that these people sell newspapers. Who buys newspapers anymore? Have a look around. Nobody really buys newspapers anymore, do they?
No.
A few guys take them to work, and the Guardian and Telegraph readers, they obviously read them before breakfast if that's how they can get them delivered. But I would say half the population don't really buy newspapers. Would that be right? Approximately half, yeah. And all the newspapers can be read online for free, apart from the Times. Well, the Sun and the Times. Is that Murdoch's? That's Murdoch's gang, isn't it?
I think it will be, yeah. Yeah, it is, yeah.
It's News Corp, isn't it?
News Corp, yeah.
Yeah. But most of the papers can be read online for free. That's a rubbish business model, isn't it? It means you have to have the news. If you can't afford to buy it, you'll have to pick it up for free, but you're having it. Do you think newspapers are making any money nowadays?
No, they're subsidised. They've got to be subsidised.
Of course, they're bloody subsidised.
As everything is still being subsidised.
Railways?
Yeah.
But this is a way of shifting public money
this
private hands.
This is the illusion of competition that Margaret Thatcher talked about. And she even she wanted this country to be the financial institution of the world.
Well, it sort of is.
So it's sort of
well, New York and Germany, New York, Germany, and London.
Much has been, but she did want it to be the commerce side of things. She didn't want us to be producing anything, and hasn't that come to fruition?
It's going to.
We don't produce any. We're just an assembly plant now here. We're just good at airfix models, aren't we?
Have you noticed that when the foreigners come to build a car plant, they look, where's the poorest areas? Sunderland, right? We'll have a look over there then, because they'll be cheap. How about Wales? They're poor. We'll have them to do it then. They find the poorest workforce, don't they?
Yeah.
And then the fun is that they say to the government, because that's an unemployment black spot, we'll go there. Give us 10 million.
Yeah, it's
give us. You build the factory.
City
and
regeneration.
We'll stock it. Yeah. Do you actually just think this is a massive milking parlour?
It certainly is.
And they're all working together at the top.
Yeah,
they're all cooperating. They're actually all cooperating together at the top. There's a massive milking parlour, and we keep looking up and seeing winners and losers, and actually they're just all laughing their heads off and saying, "This is just the best show on earth. This is the greatest show on earth."
Well, Mervyn King in one of his interviews said that the 2007-2008 crash was fun. Those were his exact words.
People losing their houses, businesses going bust, sleepless nights, broken families, dreams out the window, bankruptcies, and it was fun.
Best fun he's had for a long time, and the industry thought so as well. He couldn't make this. Well,
it is the Twilight Zone, isn't it? We are here.
We are, yeah.
We've been here for a while now, and the more we sit and chatter, the more we just shake your heads at the end of every evening when we chat, and we just say, this has got to be completely rigged from the top. And now the fact is that the players have been paid to perform the parts, and like all human beings, they don't always do as they're told. Oh. So it doesn't always go to plan.
Not always.
But the plan is the plan it. And we live on a plan it.
We do.
And we've read stuff where the claims have been made that pretty much the 1700s and corporations as they were being built were being built on the proviso of working together. Competition was to be banished.
Yes.
Competition was a bad thing. The illusion of competition allowed us to be employed and to have what appeared to be a vested interest in success. For them.
For them, yeah. Yeah.
So rather than we have one shop doing one thing, we have 3 different shops in competition. So that allows the staff to actually be employed at the cheapest shop.
Yeah.
And because all our products are provided from what would be a relatively small number of companies, about 150 global companies, most of the things we buy and need are brought from those 150 companies and their subsidiaries. Well, they can pick winners and losers.
Yeah.
They can sell a bottle of whatever it is to Morrison's at this price and a bottle of the very same product to Asda at this price.
That price, yeah.
So they can decide winners and losers.
They can, yeah.
The stock market, for the uninitiated and stupid, is just a stop-loss method for big business. In other words, if they make a mistake, you lose money. It's so they can't lose money. I mean, they have the fallouts. And they have the battles between themselves. You know, they do try and take each other over.
Yeah.
And if you look at how spiders, which is what I see these people are, look at how spiders live. Spiders don't get along. They don't love each other at all. Spiders fight for territory, for mates, for everything. And they are one of the most ingenious insects at capturing prey. They can capture and down prey much bigger than themselves and disguise themselves in ways that you wouldn't believe. Who made spiders? It's bloody genius. But that's what we live in. The life we live in is who dares wins, who's brave enough, who's bold enough. I mean, when I went to school, my two pals, my best pal turned out to be head boy. He's now a barrister. Got the call in 2007. The bully in my school, he actually runs a very successful coaching business. Very successful. In this day and age, running a successful coach business takes a little bit of doing. You've got to fight hard for those contracts. And fight hard, but he was the bully.
Yeah.
And he hasn't just succeeded in a small way. We're talking massive. In a market that, you know, the coaches aren't, the coach holidays and trips aren't quite as popular as they used to be.
No.
And yet he's built a coach company that is busy, and the biggest one in the north of the country. And he did that from his father, who had 2 taxis and a minibus. So it just show you that, in my experience, the barristers and the bullies, they both need each other.
They do.
They both need each other. And that's our little world, my little world that I live in. That's what I see. That's what's happening in my little world. Who dares wins and who's brave enough to do it anyway. I mean, the guy I'm talking about with the coaches, I mean, his first big coup, and I can go back to, it must be about 25, 30 years ago, I remember this, and that is that he tendered for the local school contracts, taking the kids to and from school. And he tendered. And all the other companies, the only 2 other companies that tendered for it, they couldn't understand how he'd done it. How can he actually tender for the contracts at that price? They couldn't match him. They had no idea how he'd done it. Guess what happened the first day of school? He turned up with double-deckers. They were on single buses, just regular 52-seaters.
Yeah.
Double-deckers. That's how he did it. Just shows you. You know, it's how smart you are. We're getting surrounded by smart meters, smart TVs, smartphones, smart washing machines, smart kettles, smart everything. And we know that all these things are going to link together to provide a full lifetime picture of our home, our movements, and our energy uses. Well, and these things are going to be regulated over time by our gas and electric meters and our water meters.
And where you go, how you travel.
But they're going to be regulated. Yeah. That's why the oil and the gas, the electric and the water, they're the smart meters they're wanting first.
Yeah.
Because they want to be able to regulate how much water, how much gas and how much electric you get. Because in the future that you and I might not see, okay, we're going to go on to allowances. The credit system will come into being. And you'll get what you put in is what you'll be allowed to take back out again.
Yeah.
This is going to be a completely closed, recyclable system. There will be no waste. If you haven't put in, you'll bloody starve or freeze to death. That's the long-term view of this. You know that, don't you? a never-ending strive for efficiency, where eventually we won't be burying our people, will we? We won't be burying them.
No, that there are places at the moment now that they're using them to heat towns and cities.
Those biomass heating systems that they're putting in.
Yeah.
We only have to look at Scandinavia to find out that they've been around for a little while, you know.
They have.
And they'll run on people.
Anything that burns.
They'll run on bloody people. We couldn't possibly get there, could we? If we don't pay attention, yeah, we could. And nobody's paying attention there. No. People are only halfway noticing the news. The headlines that we just bypass now. You read them and turn the page. I didn't think it could happen. In fact, there's one that I put on here. I just thought, how can you read that and then just bypass the page? You know. Here's one: UK government wants nurseries to report potential terrorist toddlers. We know about the agenda there about getting into the family one way or another. We know about breaking us down, but the one I'm trying to find is what was I just I'll have to mention that on the show now. I'll never remember, but I'm going to have a go. Prince Andrew, he's now hogging the news pages again. Are we surprised? No. I think the big surprise is that the edge that he paid for it. He hasn't paid for bloody nothing ever, has he? Here we are. Here it is. This is MIT researcher. Glyphosate herbicide will cause half of all children to have autism by 2025. That's there we are then.
There we are. That'll be it then.
There we are. What can we do? You just couldn't make it up. Autism. What have I called it before? Trying to make geniuses.
Looking for a genius.
Trying to make bloody geniuses. Do I think it's been done on purpose? Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to find a person that will only concentrate on that specialised subject. And that's all they're interested in.
Trying to make bloody geniuses.
Yeah.
They want to take the next step. Well, they only have the minds to create. They only have the minds to create more of themselves. That's all they can do is create more of themselves. Until the next step's taken, the next discovery's taken, then they're stuck as we are. And the discoveries come from the most amazing places and the most amazing people, and often accidentally.
Yeah.
And that's what they're looking out for. Lots of people say, "Did we go to the moon?" Well, I don't know. Did we go to the moon or not? Doesn't matter. I haven't been. You been?
No.
Don't matter, does it? Oh. I know one thing. If we could colonise the stars, they'd be telling us about it.
Yeah.
They would be telling us about it. And you know why they'd be telling us about it? Because we would be being sold a future timeshare to the stars. And we would be paying for it now. We're never going to get it, but we would be paying for it now. The whole world would be starting a global let's get to the stars type program.
I saw a little something in the news about the Russians, and they're trying to build this rocket that can go into space, and then the rocket can come back, and it can dock with the Salyut space station, and we can actually come back. And I thought, didn't we have them? Weren't they called space shuttles?
Designed in the 1930s.
What? It's absolute madness. It really is.
Our ability to forget is now becoming quite tremendous, isn't it? How much will we believe? We'll believe anything.
We'll believe anything, yeah.
If it comes from the BBC, we'll bloody believe it.
Yeah.
The Telegraph, the Guardian. As long as it's in there, it must have happened. And the alternative gang are just as silly. I mean, our numbers aren't increasing. They aren't.
No.
If they were, we would know about it. Because we've been around now for a while. The people who discover it and they go, it drives you a bit nuts to begin with, doesn't it?
It does.
It does drive you nuts, and you get on Facebook and you get on YouTube, and it does. It makes you think that you know stuff.
It's sad. At one point we had a little gang of 5, didn't we?
We were building a little gang towards 7 or 8 at one point.
And now it's back to you and me again.
Yeah, it is. Because, and the reason why the revelation of the method is going to continue with the BBC, BBC 1, BBC 2, BBC 4, whatever, they're going to keep telling us, is really quite straightforward, isn't it? Because it's the conclusion that you and I have come to. That this is the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
So we need to actually decide what we're going to do about that. And live our lives accordingly, and avoid the obvious pitfalls, and not hand over our money for dreams that are never going to be actually come to fruition. And just, I guess we're going to watch the world go mad, aren't we? And try and stay in sanity.
This absolute madness that's unfolding before your very eyes. Listen to a little YouTube clip, and it was a guy talking about the church and the sun, and we're worshipping. I thought, he got me listening, blah blah, and then suddenly it's aliens that gave us religion, and they're coming back and linking the religion with aliens, and I thought, brilliant. I sat there and gave him a round of applause. I thought, how many people will fall for this?
It's a mistake that's easy to make, though, isn't it?
Yes.
It is easy to make, because even you admit that to begin with that was your interest, because we were being shown pictures on YouTube, and you never thought they'd be doctored. You never thought that they were all. I mean, there must be over 1 billion mobile phones in the world, yeah, 1 billion, and most of them have got a camera on. Have you got a good picture of one yet?
No, it's always blurred and wobbling about. But some Christmas Day, I did see something I could not explain.
We've both seen stuff.
I just went. It was Christmas evening. It was dark, and we had a clear. It wasn't a clear sky. We had a cloudy sky, and I just went out to let the dogs out, and something went across the sky. And it was red, green, and yellow. And I thought, was it a space station? Hell, some traffic lights have.
Wasn't the space station lighting up Christmas though? The space station was lighting up Christmas.
Oh, was it?
It was, yeah.
All right. Well, no, it was below the clouds. There was clouds over. If it had been, that's what made me think.
And it can't have been the government. They won't be working
and
Christmas
Day.
It must have been aliens.
Nothing.
Must have been
shuts
aliens.
Down Christmas, and it flew over me. And I just stood there and watched it go past, and I thought, yeah, they can make you believe anything.
They can. You do come back to your five senses. Did you experience it? If you didn't, don't believe it. Don't believe it.
I saw it. I couldn't hear it. It made no noise. It didn't leave a trail in the sky. And it was heading over towards our house from our door. It looked supposedly, if you looked in a straight line, it was over Menwith Hill way. So it was heading out over that way. And I thought, yeah, it's heading that way. It'll be. It's something to do with the military, obviously.
Probably just a posh drone. Probably just
a posh drone. Yeah.
Drones,
I know that they have green and a star, but is it a real light that's?
Oh, I don't know.
A real light that's green, and the forward-facing light's red. So it might have been something.
I think we just need to focus on our own lives, don't we?
Yep.
And trying to get along with people, because actually getting along with people after you've made this discovery is a little difficult, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It takes a bit to settle back down again, really. I'd love to get some interaction going with people who do listen to us.
Yeah.
But they're still too shy. It's still early days. They won't talk to us, and yet talking is the only way that you find out where you are.
Yeah. We do get a few nice comments on the YouTube videos. We've had a few over the Christmas period. Some new listeners, somebody from New England had put on that they'd listened to the show and liked it. So, yeah, and we do comment, don't we? We do read your comments.
I try and keep up with most of it. You do as well.
We do, yeah.
But anyway, the exciting thing is we've got petrol coming down to £1 a litre.
Whoopee.
And we've also got the tax take coming at the end of January. So, do you think what might happen, right? Right, just guessing. Because we love being fortune tellers, don't we? Do you think by mid-February that the Treasurer might say that tax take is down, and because of the shortfall in petrol income, we're going to have to invent another one? Do you think it might be carbon taxes? Do you think so?
Yeah, it might be.
Might be. Do you think it's just to bust Venezuela? Or do you think it's just to bust Russia?
Russia.
Or
and these places where there's no Rothschild bank. There's only 5 places on Earth that's left.
Down to 4, I think. Now.
Oh, is it down to 4?
Syria have got it, haven't they?
Yeah, Syria have. Yeah, they've taken it bad. Yeah,
Libya. Yeah. There's about 3 maybe. it is quite simple to see what's going on, but you have to do the whole journey to see the overarching control system.
Yeah.
And I have no doubt in my mind that this is a system of cooperation around the world to milk the people.
It is.
And yes, they have the fallouts, and yes, they have the buyouts and even sometimes wars with themselves. But all in all, as you and I have spoke about all the time, if we end up fighting, we're doing this wrong. Because we both want the same thing. So the only thing we can do with that is to engineer how we can both profit. Now, we're not doing that because we don't charge anybody for anything. And we've never every intention to do so. But we're talking the same language at a very much lower level. And they must say the same thing, that we need to get together and do some business. And the way we can do that is to engineer a situation where we both work together and supply what these people need. It's the only way that this whole system can do that. They cannot fight and squabble over customers. They must actually work together. Now, through process of elimination, they will be eliminating each other as well. It all might be going very well on the outside, but between them, they'll be fighting and falling out. But we see that on the political scale.
Yeah.
We see the overall picture that we're being promoted is the opposite to what really is true. The picture we're being promoted is that they're in opposition and can't agree on which day of the week it is. But behind the scenes, of course, that's not the way it's working at all.
That isn't.
They understand that they have a theatre to run.
Yeah.
And this theatre is all, for them, one big popularity contest. And as long as they all know that this is your X Factor moment, and whatever I say when I stand up and say it, don't take it personally. It's just business. It's just, I want to keep in this job, and I want my people to see me and see me as qualified and doing my job. So don't take it personally, because you can do it to me. So if I say something that you're not happy with, and even if I criticise something you're involved with, your right to reply will never be denied. So if you sit quietly, then you've made your choice. Silence by consent, the silent majority. And that's how this works on every scale. If you sit quietly, the silent majority, you'll be taken to be their consent. That's as easy as it is. And that's how big business works.
Yeah.
Big business works as I'll stand up and say my bit, you stand up and say your bit. And blow by blow, we will achieve an outcome that is either a win for one and a loss for another, or, more often than not, a negotiated settlement that we're both happy with. So they don't actually get to shoot each other. They get to have a jolly good shout and then negotiate. We don't do that, do we? We don't do that, do we?
To do that.
Yeah, but we take it to the win or lose, don't we?
Yeah.
At this level here, we don't give up. We keep going and going and going until we feel we've won. And you know what we've won? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing that bloody matters. We've probably argued about who's walking the flicking dog, and we've ended up with the result that's bloody told them. What have we won?
Yeah.
We've actually just taken that relationship. We've just taken another bit of strength out of that relationship. That's all we've actually achieved, isn't it?
Yeah.
We should see it as a courtroom session when we're talking to people. A courtroom session where we shake hands before we start, have a jolly good to and fro, and then when we finish, shake hands and say, enjoyed that. Good outcome. And then be done. And then be done. And then pop down the pub and have a beer. Because that's how they do it.
That is how they
do it. And we can't understand that, can we?
No.
We can't say our piece and be done with it, because somebody wants to fight to the bitter bloody end. These are lessons I'm sure we're never going to learn, but by golly, we would benefit greatly if we did, wouldn't we?
We would, yeah.
So, moving along then. Right, Christmas time. We haven't spoken about Christmas time, because you don't need to, really.
No, not really.
We just do our own thing, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
And you had some peace and quiet.
Some time to switch everything, telly off, computer off, and just sit there and think. And I can understand how the hermit thing appeals to And the hermit's always a man, isn't it? The hermit.
It's in the tarot, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Tarot cards. Those
Yeah,
21 major secrets, or major arcana as they're called. And that is the process, and he's in there, isn't he?
Yes.
And he's very tempted to live the life of the hermit. You've
Yeah.
mentioned it before,
It's
but this time you had the chance to listen to the little voice.
yeah. You've got to turn things over in your head, your own thoughts. And it's been poo-pooed over the years, hasn't it? It's been classed as madness.
The psychologists would have had you away.
Oh, they would, yeah. They've had you in the... and you've got to sit there and you've got to speak to yourself out loud. You've got to talk to yourself and come up with your own answers. And it's therapy. It does work.
It does.
It gets you through things that when you're in sort of dark times and tough times and family times, that this illusion of family and how well it is and how good it is. Not all you ever see is families at war. They're all falling out in heaps and blooming lumps.
Well, I mean, we are being pressed now, like maybe perhaps throughout history, maybe throughout history we've been oppressed like this. We don't know. We've not lived that time, have we? Well, we know that we're now oppressed by debt, and
Yeah.
we didn't really have access to that like we have now. But debt is just delayed dreams.
It is.
But we're delaying the dreams of our children while trying to manufacture and satisfy our own.
Yes.
See,
Yeah.
once you've had children, your priorities should change. And I'm not telling people what to do, but you should want to change them. You should want to say, right, okay, now I have a responsibility, but then we get to the spoil thing, don't we? Spoke about this before.
Yeah.
If you make life too easy for your kids, then they're not going to have the resilience and
No.
ruggedness that's
No.
needed to get through life.
Exactly.
Because life's going to knock you down a number
Yeah.
of times.
Well, look at a good person to look at is Jamie Oliver. Done very well for himself. I'm not going to go into where he's got to and how he's got there, but his work ethic started at 9 years old in his dad's pub. He worked in the kitchen and he had a love of working in the kitchen, and he worked with his dad there helping to prepare the food. And I suppose that was included into his integrated into his schoolwork, but that's 9 years old, and what the state's trying to do is make us children too long, trying to keep us at school for longer and longer and longer.
It will be 21 eventually.
And I'm talking
It will be
university.
20, yeah.
Well,
It is 21 officially, isn't it?
Yeah.
With uni, it is.
And makes you jump through hoops. My wife's just been jumping through hoops. She's been back to university, and she's the same age as me. She's 49. She's done a 2-year course in three. It should have been a 3-year course. They've compacted it down to 2 years course. She's finished it now. She's waiting to see if she's got her results in her masters. And this is all to keep a job. They're always dangling carrots and making you jump through hoops within the system that they're working. It's and it works perfectly. And the Holy Trinity that she's working within is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost of what is the NHS. And the NHS are funded sometimes from the universities, and then where the universities get the funding from is from the pharmaceutical companies. And there's the three companies: the pharmaceutical companies, the universities, and the NHS.
And then the NHS come up with what they want, and the pharmaceutical company makes it.
Yes, and then
it's only an investment.
That's it.
It's not a gift in any way.
It's not.
It's actually an investment from the company, because they want the results back, so they can then sell the NHS what they've asked for.
Exactly, and then the burden is then on the NHS, and this again, this illusion of competition.
Yeah, but
is
there's also
just an illusion.
But there's also declared interests here.
Yes,
the players involved are the whole thing is designed so the company that's invested the money gets the contract.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
It is, yeah.
It's like, tell us what you want and we'll supply it.
I liken it to Hitler. How did they build all these those concrete bunkers under the noses of everybody? And some of these concrete bunkers were massive, and where they needed cement and aggregates to build these concrete bunkers, where did it all come from?
Somebody built them and promised not to tell them. Promised not to say. Well, what we got underneath us? We don't know, do we? We don't know.
We've got one of the biggest. We are one of the biggest cement producers in the world.
All I'm going to say, cement.
Still,
cement is what holds this whole thing together. We've talked about this before, haven't we?
Yeah.
Hey, the cement, what you see, what it means, and what you make of it, and what you put into. That's your foundations of where you live. We should do the language a little bit more. I know people pick up on us, and when we do the language, they pick up because that's the initial attraction to, like, God, yeah, I never thought of it like that.
Well,
I never thought of it like that.
The one I was doing in the holidays in contemplation was prediction. We love a prediction.
But it's prior, isn't it?
But it
Pre and prior.
Yes.
It's previously.
Previously,
Okay,
yeah.
well, previously or prior.
Yeah.
So, how can it be future?
How can it be future? And diction is, we use diction, we're using diction now. So it's what you hear and take into your eyes, and we speak it out. That's where diction comes from. It comes from speaking it out.
And to keep it in one place, they have to put it in a dictionary.
They do. And
it's recorded on stationery.
Yeah.
So this train doesn't go anywhere until they say so.
Exactly.
And who makes dictionaries? Our lords and masters.
Oxford, isn't it?
It's the Oxford or the Cumbridge.
Oh,
It's the cattle through the ford and the blues over the bridge.
Yes, those are
Blues
prepared
over
to
the
pay
bridge.
the toll
And what's
and
Mervyn,
go over the bridge.
What's Mervyn King's favourite song? The Ship.
The ship.
The Ship,
It is,
because at
yeah.
that time he was captain of the ship of state, and it was fun. Even though it was sinking, it was fun. These people are playing battleships with our lives, our money, our investments, and everything.
And playing both sides.
Well, it's because I mean, you're a peon and I'm a peon,
Yes,
but we're all Europeans.
Europeans, yeah.
Now they're globalists,
I'm
okay?
sick of them taking the peon.
No, they pee on each other at their private clubs. I believe.
They're the private clubs. That's,
I
that's
believe
initiation ceremony, isn't it?
Let's just wonder where that word came from, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's just wonder. Let's just wonder why. You know, there's massive claims that we've got psychopaths in charge, and then there's the counter-claim that if we didn't have psychopaths, we wouldn't move society forward because we have to recognise the bad guys. We like to fight against the darkness, so we see the bad guys, we fight against the bad guys, and goodness wins, and the world moves forwards.
Yes.
Like, this isn't bloody true at all, but
Prediction.
it's a great story, isn't it? It's a great story, isn't it? I mean, Hollywood wasn't the first one to predict that, was it? I mean, the thing about it is we've got John Wayne existed 2,000 years ago, and he was wandering around showing the world how to do miracles and help the blind to see. Well, you and I can make the claim that perhaps we are trying to help the blind to see a little bit. And we're a bit pissed off with the bankers, and we'd like to punch them on the nose end. And if we did, they'd probably crucify us as well. Yes. The story hasn't changed, has it?
No, it hasn't. No.
It's updated, and our windows have been updated. Our windows on the world have been updated.
They have.
But it's not really changed a great deal, except Hollywood changed the ending. Hollywood changed the ending so the good guy always wins. Not much evidence of that in history, is there?
No.
Okay, history, if you look at history one way and then look at the future another way, it's idealistic. We have an idealistic, peaceful future. And they say they're always trying to create peace in the world. No, they're not. This is rubbish. This is rubbish.
Ideal as well. Ideal. Who's dealing?
Well,
who's dealing the cards?
The thing about ideals is they're always peaceful, aren't they? History's bloody violent. It's nothing but violence from one war to the next.
Yeah.
Luckily, we have. We're so domesticated now that we actually just fight over silly things.
Yeah.
There was a time when you'd have it out in the street. Even in our time, it was if you want to fight guys outside, you say you outside. But those days are gone now.
Yeah.
But this duality. We no longer duel in the way that we would do.
No.
We don't.
We don't. No.
We don't know. We duel with just words. And we try and upset. And of course, the control system, people are upsetting you by saying nasty things. And you want us to do something about it, you leave it to us. You leave it to us. If somebody's offending you, we'll make offending you an offence.
Yeah.
I've been offended. We're getting weaker and weaker and weaker and more pathetic. The actual correct word is smaller, and smaller we can be termed into being younger, and younger, but contracted is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This is a world of contracts, and we always sign their contract, so it becomes an agreement.
Yeah.
because they never sign ours.
Oh.
First of all, we don't present a contract, and secondly, we don't demand that they sign the one that we do. So we're told it's a contract, but with one signature, it actually becomes an agreement. And the reason why it becomes an agreement, and all after that, is they'll send you new terms and conditions all the time, and you don't have to agree to them, but you can't have the service if you don't.
No, exactly.
It's as simple as that.
Do you want this service or not?
You've got a bank account, but we've changed your terms and conditions. So if you still want the bank account, do nothing. And it's all, you can still have it.
Yeah.
You can still have it. We've changed the terms and conditions. There's nothing for you to do here. Nothing for you to do at all. You just do nothing, and everything will stay the same, except we've changed the terms and conditions. And we know you're not going to read them, so you're never going to read the fact that almost a year ago we changed the banking practices in that now when you give us your money, it becomes at risk on our business balance sheet. So if we actually suffer a devastating loss, then your money will be deemed to be our money, and it will be part of the risk that has been assumed, and will be part of repaying the loss should it be payable. And you cannot deny that things are lining up quite well, aren't they?
They are. With
a massive collapse in the oil price, the Dow in America is starting to falter. The FTSE in the UK has never actually got off the floor for the past 15 bloody years. It's been rumbling along the bottom. There is a big vested interest now in to take another big hit on the markets. The markets don't get hurt because the people who start the hit are the ones that start the panic buying, the panic selling.
Yeah.
They start the panic selling. They start selling off massive stocks at, let's say, 20 quid a share. The market falls by a half or even more, and once the market has levelled at its bottom,
they start buying them back.
They just buy it back. And the people who've lost are the idiots who walk into the casino with their pension money.
Yep.
They're going to do it again, guys and girls, and they're going to take it all. The last time they did it, one customer in my shop told me he'd lost £30,000 out of his pension fund, and they're going to do it again. And if he still left his money in there, he'll probably lose another £30,000, and that's one guy.
Yeah.
This is the milking of the entire Western world.
Jeez. I remember I was in here getting fish and chips, and a guy came in and he was treating himself to fish and chips. Do you remember? And he'd invested his children's school funds.
I know he is, yeah.
In the stock exchange, and he was coming in to treat himself to fish and chips because he'd done quite well.
Yeah.
And I said, "What do you treat yourself when you're doing really well?"
You did, yeah.
He didn't quite get it, did he? Really, but
no,
he didn't realise.
He was so chuffed himself.
He was, yeah.
He found a good investment for his children's school funds.
Yes, school funds.
What he meant was he'd put an amount of money in. His kids only little.
Yes.
He's looking at secondary school, and he found the investment to put that amount of money in to build it for his school, his children's secondary education.
School fees.
Good God, I mean, good luck to him. He hasn't been in for a little while.
No, he seemed to know what he was doing. He's obviously, I don't know what he'd done well in, but it warranted having some fish and chips.
All I'm going to say is, I've got nobody invested in any market at all.
No.
I came out of the pension game almost 14, 15 years ago. I got nobody riding on any of these things.
No.
But I don't want you to lose. But if you did want to just buy stuff that goes up in value.
Bradford and Bingley shares, we got some of those free because we had savings with Bradford and Bingley. And when the Bradford and Bingley went bust, and they were bought out by Santander, before they went bust, we got some, I think, with 250 shares, and they were worth 50 pence each a share or something like that.
That's what they did in Cyprus, wasn't it?
Yes.
When they watched it, they'd scream 10% of your bank account. 10% of your savings, but they gave you to made it up in shares.
Made it up in shares, yeah.
But you can't cash it for 2 or 3 years.
No.
That's the life of that bank over in 2 or 3 years' time.
Yeah.
And that time's starting to clock forward now.
Well,
that time's coming forwards now.
Santander.
Easy for you to say.
Santander took over. They took over a load. Bradford and Bingley, Cheltenham, Gloucester. There were loads of them, weren't there? I can't remember.
Anyway, Evans, isn't it?
It was Santander. And I think I got a check through the put because you could either carry him over to Santander or cash him in. I thought, I'm not. I'll
Stop
just cash him
saying
in. And Santander sent me 18 quid. After 250 quid's worth of shares, we're worth 18 quid. Oh dear!
It's one long bloody thievery.
It is.
It's a professional fiefdom.
It is. Yeah,
it's a combined global bloody mafia.
Pyramid scheme.
Although Russia's not quite playing as it should, and Venezuela's not quite playing as it should, and Syria's going to get a good lesson if they don't calm down. But all in all, the global mafias are working together to milk the people until there's nothing left.
Yeah.
The downside is that once they've milked us and we're not left, we're done.
We're done then.
We're done then.
Yeah. The Georgia Guidestones will come into fruition.
It's quite sobering, isn't it?
It is really, yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the world we're leaving behind for the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, their ingenuity might actually get them a house. They might get them a good job. They might keep them alive.
Yeah.
But what about their kids? No, the world's not going to look at anything like that, is it?
No. You want about what jobs are going to be there. Somebody sent me a clip on Facebook. There's a machine now that can lay bricks. A machine was laying bricks. And it was doing a good job as well. There was just somebody following it up behind it, scraping the mortar off and pointing it. But it was laying the bricks. So all it needs now is a labourer, somebody to press the button on and to do whatever it needs to do to fill it up with cement or whatever.
We're inventing ourselves out of existence.
We're inventing ourselves out of existence. We are. And we're going to be dinosaurs in this technological world.
Maybe we have to accept that if this is the way humanity is got, because I don't see many people pushing this back.
No.
As usual, they'll realise too late, and too late will be the cry.
Yeah. You and I remember watching Tomorrow's World, don't you? And I'm sure in that they said, and this whole thing saying, we'll have so much leisure time, we won't need to work as much. It was like the compute. Once the computers come in, there'll be no paperwork. Now there's more paperwork than ever. It's created more paperwork as computers. So these lies that they keep telling us and keep bringing on through the generations, and nobody seems to be able to remember what they've said.
Utopia's always been for sale,
and
you can try and buy it, but it's just your own lifetime you can achieve it in.
It's like finding the end of the rainbow, isn't it?
I actually went out for a meal over Christmas. Some people came to see me. I haven't seen them for a little while, and that was quite an eye opener. That was quite different. The people I haven't seen for a long time, and they're successful business people, and we're not the same anymore. Talk about different things. We're not the same. And their daughter, they're from South Africa. Their daughter was amazed that they could walk around London. They could walk around streets in London. She felt quite uncomfortable. Yeah, they could walk up and down streets in London, especially off the main thoroughfare. They could walk down, what you and I would call a house street with cars at the side. And she was quite uncomfortable with the fact that they could walk so far, because in South Africa you can't do that.
No, the gated communities, aren't they?
They've had to. I mean, she openly said, they've actually exchanged freedom for security. But along with that has come the monetary. Because the reason they've had to do that is because the black people in South Africa still have a problem with the rich white people.
They do, yeah.
And the rich white people are still taking South Africa. They're taking the money out of South Africa and they're keeping it for themselves.
They are.
And they're having the couple that I'm talking to, and this is something I've known for a long time. They live in gated communities with security at every exit.
Yeah.
And
they have servants.
Oh, they do have servants,
they gardeners
do,
and cooks and cleaners.
Yeah.
And they're generally the local natives.
Yeah, they are. All agreed. All in place. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
But we weren't the same.
No.
We didn't see people the same. It might sound sometimes like I see people in less than, and I speak to people as if they're less than, but I know it could be me. I know just through a series of fortunate choices and a pretty good work ethic that I've got this far, but it could be me. It really could have been me, and I'm not criticising at all. I know people say, you always criticise, Paul. I said, no, I don't. If you listen, I criticise those that won't. Those that refuse to do it. Those are the ones that criticise. And the reason I criticise those people is because they won't answer my questions. They won't answer my questions. They accuse the government of parasiting. They accuse they have nothing that they won't attack and have an opinion on. But woe betide, you actually look at them. You look at their lives. Look at what they're doing. It is a reality that you and I have seen. We've been to Leeds and seen it. And we won't be going to Leeds again. Because they were broken people, but they weren't happy to see us.
No, they weren't.
This is what upset me.
That's what upset me.
We went to a meeting in Leeds, didn't we?
Yeah.
And we realised when we sat down that perhaps we were a little more fortunate than some people who were sat there. But we didn't make a big deal of that. We were still happy to be there. We travelled to see them.
We travelled to see them.
To see them and to make
and
friends
be in their company
and make connections.
Yeah.
And they weren't happy to see us.
They weren't happy to see us. No. We were. We weren't welcome because we weren't in the same predicament as they were.
We weren't as poor as they were.
No.
And
we wouldn't understand.
And this love and light, and we're all one.
That's what was said to me. You don't understand.
But this love and light, and we'll all unite and fight together is rubbish.
It is.
I wish it wasn't. I wish it was true, but it's not.
No, it isn't.
It's not. They'll betray you. Just that they will betray you.
Yeah.
Just as Peter just betrayed Jesus, didn't he?
Yeah.
Spent all that time with him, betrayed him. When they'll betray you.
Yeah. Well, the followers betrayed Jesus. Free Barabbas.
We're not Bible bashers. But for me, the Bible is possibly...
it's a template, that.
It's a template of control.
It is a template of control.
And a book I should have considered a long time ago in my education. It's for children who believe the story as it's written.
Yeah.
And it's for others that understand why the story is for children.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that, yeah. Have we been doom and gloom? I hope we haven't. The idea is to inspire people to take a moment, switch off not switch it off, but turn down the noise and have a little look.
Yeah.
And are you perfect? Because I ain't perfect.
No.
I'm a long way from perfect. I'm less perfect now than I was when I first started looking. But at least I know I am. And I'm okay with that. Humility.
Yeah.
And compassion. You know, I still look at the world and, I'm not frightened to admit that there's a tear or two here and there, but it's not for me.
No.
It's for the mistakes that people are making that I made.
Yes.
And it's my inability to connect with those people and say, I used to do that. And it didn't work out for me either. And you know what happened? I thought, there's got to be another way. This isn't working out for me or anybody. We all want the same thing, and we're all failing at wanting the same thing. And I can spend I can blame the bankers, I can blame the jury, or the judges, or the police, or my neighbours. I can blame my boss, I can blame my wife. I can blame my mum or my dad because they didn't buy me the things that I needed. But that's not going to fix me. You have to accept you're bloody broken first. And once you accept you're broken, you realise that that's what slaves have to be. And if you don't want to be a slave, you've got to fix your bloody self. And don't go around breaking other people thinking you're fixing yourself. Because you're not.
No.
If you're a slave, and you probably are, then stop being a slave. And the way to stop being a slave is to learn to think for yourself and speak out for yourself. You look around the world, you say the world's not happy. Are you happy? Well, don't shout at other people if they're not. The one thing that pisses people off the most is when they say to you, how are you? And you can come out with this answer, and I guarantee give it a try. I'm right glad you've asked, because do you know, since last time we spoke, life couldn't have dealt me a better hand. I'm sleeping well, my relationship's good, jobs and my career's looking up, profits are a little higher. Do you know, I can't think of anything that would be a downside. How's your life going? And you know what you'll get? Look at you. That's what you'll get. It's not easy, is it? But life isn't designed to be easy. If it was too easy, we wouldn't have got this far.
No.
We'd still be living in huts.
Yeah.
We do have to be pushed to do stuff. And the dumbest, slowest, thickest people are the dinosaurs.
Mm.
And you and I were in danger of being dinosaurs. And we admit we still are.
Mm-hmm.
But we are dinosaurs that are going back to school to try and get through the last bit a bit better.
Yeah.
Don't join the dream clubs about saving the world and save this, save that, and drink your own bloody urine and some of the stuff, you know. Calm down, look at your life, look at your friends, and work out how much of it you want to keep. Because if you carry on this stuff, you're going to lose all of that. You will lose it all.
Mm.
This system will have you sat home, alone, with no friends, fearful of a knock on the door and whether you can keep the electric on.
Yeah.
This system is designed, if you're not already broken, is to break you once and for all.
Mm. Jeez, yeah.
And if you carry on looking at the darkness, it'll bloody bury you.
Mm.
It will feel like you have been buried alive. But if you take your time, in the duality that we live, and the duality is good or evil, it's your choices.
Mm.
We can say God or the devil.
Mm.
Those are just the character names for the stage play that you're taking part in. This is a costume drama, and you're going to play or you're not going to play. The duality is your choices, and your choices are made on what you know, and what you know is either what you've learnt by experience or heard from the crowd. Take the first option.
Mm.
Be prepared to fail.
Yeah.
It's the only way to learn. It's good night from me.
And good night from me.
Nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. The slogan, "Press on," has solved and always will solve the problems of the human race. Calvin Coolidge, 1933.